Sheep slander part 2. An unfortunate number of people believe that trees just can't grow this high, that this is the natural state of upland UK, but here's a great example of that being false. This is a mountain ash, also known as a rowan. In its younger years, it was able to grow in amongst the gorse and not be eaten by the sheep, but for the most part, that is not happening here. Just a few trees able to survive. In this wide open landscape, which is far from densely packed with sheep, struggles to grow anything that they don't want to eat. These heavily sheep-wrecked landscapes are extremely vulnerable to wildfires and drought. That's why you see a lot of dead heather and gorse here. It can quickly rebound, which is why this species is doing well here, but anything else does very poorly. In a natural ecosystem, this is just a transitional phase. It goes from grassland to moorland to woodland, but it's not allowed to complete that phase, as you can see. Now, historically, those places that used to be forests, they were cut down for timber and then used for sheep. There are a good few reasons for this, and they all come down to people. People burn these landscapes to keep them open on purpose, for hunting a lot of the time, especially when it comes to grouse. There's ways other than fire to keep a land open though. But these animals right here, sheep, are the most effective at keeping the land open and inhospitable to wildlife. So if these animals are such a blight on the British countryside, why do we still have so many? Well, there's two things. Number one is an unwillingness to change. A lot of people consider sheep their tradition, despite the indigenous Celtic people having these animals forced onto them. In fact, the Highland clearances that occurred up in Scotland, forcing thousands of people off of their ancestral land, was largely thanks to sheep. Which leads me into the second point, which is greed. Historically, sheep were actually useful for their wool. Their wool was really good at making clothes and thus helped build the British economy a long time ago. But today, sheep aren't worth that much. In fact, wool is worth less than the cost it takes to shear the animal itself. And the meat, unless it's a specialized kind, isn't worth that much either. But how does modern day greed play into this if they're not worth much of anything? Well, the subsidies. Those subsidies get given no matter what the animal is worth. And so there's a massive incentive for landowners to just throw sheep onto the land they own so they can get whatever money they can. Whereas smaller farmers, people who actually care about the sheep they're raising, they actually lose out in the long run because they have to compete with these massive hordes. If you truly want to see a change, please boycott industrial sheep product and spread the word to people who